It's a new season, a new squad, a new coach and a new league. But it's Argyle and it's back, and boy, are we all happy about that. Just 13 weeks without competitive football is over. Tom Cleverley makes his Argyle bow this afternoon, and he's tasked with trying to bounce back to the Championship at the first time of asking. No pressure then. Life back in League One starts with Barnsley at home park, and all of it will be live on Argyle TV. Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Matchday Live here on Argyle TV. I'm Erin Black and this is your Matchday show. Live from Home Park, jam-packed, first day of the new season. The disappointment, of course, of last season is a distant memory now, and it's time for some new beginnings. And to set the record straight again, we've had 10 new players come through the door, an exciting young head coach at the helm, and it is all systems go for the good ship Mayflower. Excitement around the new season is here, and Home Park is no exception. The atmosphere is building very nicely outside the studio this morning and well into this afternoon. If you're not with us at the ground today, then don't worry, because of course you can, as always, watch along here with the pre-match day programme, and you can catch everything live over on pafc.co.uk. But we'll be bringing you all of the build-up over the next 30 minutes. Those match passes, as I mentioned, audio and video, pafc.co.uk is where you need all the details from that. You can log in and you can join us for the ride as we kick off League One, hopefully with a bang. And I'm pleased to say I'm joined in the studio this afternoon by none other than Brian McGlinchey. Brian, thanks for coming in today.
Yeah, no problem, thank you.
New season, new studio as well.
It is, yeah, very nice.
A little bit different, but
yeah,
quite nice. Yeah, it's a lot of changes that have happened. And I suppose the tricky thing is when you've had so many changes over the summer and you come in for the first match of the season, don't really know what to expect.
Yeah, you don't. And pre-seasons, is a gauge in the sense of fitness for one, but you can never gauge from performances what they're going to start the season like. I heard Cleverley saying that when he was at Watford, he lost nearly every pre-season game, and then he won the first 5-6 games of the season. So it's very hard to sort of say how your season's going to go through pre-season. But pre-season's about getting fit, it's about having no injuries and stuff like that, really, and getting your team to know each other, because you said a lot of new faces. A lot of people have gone, a lot of new players have come in, so it's just getting to know each other, how the manager wants to play, and yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this sort of game pans out today.
Yeah, and it's it's a little bit tricky because maybe, I'm sure we'll go into it in a bit more detail, but Argyle haven't maybe made all the sorts of signings that fans might have been looking for. You mentioned, injuries pre-season, not wanting to have any. Of course, we know we've got a few players out coming into today's game as well. So, yeah. But having said that, if Tom Cleverley lost his pre-season matches at Watford, didn't get off to the greatest start, and then started the season well, then that's fine. We'll take that here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, pre-season's not been too bad. There's been a few good results. I was here for the Bristol City game. That was a tough game. Bristol City are a good side. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see today, because Barnsley will be there'll be a decent side in this division this season.
Yes, well, we'll have to see how it goes. Not long to go now, just under 30 minutes. Cleverley is the man tasked with getting Argyle to bounce straight back, and that is no easy feat. I mean, it's what everybody wants, but whether that's doable remains to be seen. I think everyone at this point probably just looking for a nice, comfortable, top end finish there, I think is what the expectations are.
Yeah, I would say he wants to get promoted. I think when you come down from the Championship, you're going to have that bit of expectation, but we've lost a lot of players, haven't we? We lost a lot of players before the end of last season. No big players went as well. So, it's going to be tough for us. New players coming in maybe are not known for this pedigree as well. New faces have come in, and this is a big jump for them at this level. But as you can imagine, the divisions are just, they're coming down with no really good teams in there, good players. Some of the players that can't get in the Premiership playing in the Championship, and players can't play in the Championship playing League One, and it's sort of filtering down, and it's real tough division to get out of. So yeah, and you think about the team we had went up under Schumacher. We had Azaz, Whittaker.
Yeah.
We had some team, to be honest, and I know we sort of ran away with it in the end, but it just shows you the quality you need to get out of this division.
Yeah.
So it will be tough.
And of course, you know, some of those big names as well leaving the club. I mean, were you expecting to see some of the changes we've seen in terms of not players coming in, but players going out with the relegation?
Nothing surprises me in football for one. But yeah, I'm probably thinking that's probably, you know, if a championship team comes in for you, you know, Hardy's a big blow for us. I think he would have scored a lot of goals in this division, but you can't blame anyone trying to ply the trade in the championship with Wrexham, and obviously Randall's gone as well, but lots of players have gone, and you know, Bundu's gone as well. So lots of players at the top end of the pitch, and I think that's where we need to get some reinforcements. I'm sure the fans will be excited if we can get a few faces in the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw a couple of them warming up out on the pitch there. So let's not waste any time. Let's get you some of the team news then for today's game. We start, as always, with Argyle. And as mentioned, there are quite a few new faces there. Luca Ashby-Hammond in goal, Brendan Wiradu, Cornell Suge, Xavier Amici, Barley Mumba, Caleb Watts, Malachi Boateng, Brendan Galloway, Bradley Ibrahim, Matty Sorinola and Victor Paulson make up your starting 11, and you will see the substitute Spencer, Baker, Patterson, Edwards, Benarous, Oseni, Isaka and Finn. A lot of different names, and then you see, you know, the formation there, Brian, because when we were talking about it beforehand, when we saw the names come out, it was interesting to wonder how they were going to come out today. Yeah,
well, there's a lot of change there, but the one thing I would say is that there's a bit of continuity at the back.
Yeah,
you know, the three players at the back, you know, in the sense of, you know, Galloway. I don't know if that's how they're going to set up there in a sense, but for me, you know, with Paulson, Sux and Galloway, they're mainstays of the team last season, although they were in and around the side. You know, obviously, you know, that gives a bit of continuity. I think that's important. That the back players not conceding goals is your foundation to sort of kick on in any sort of promotion push that Argyle would want them to at least go for. You've got Mumba as well, he played really well in this division last time he was in it. You know, he won Player of the Year, so hopefully he can maybe replicate that. That'll be a really good sort of option for us. And he's playing further up the pitch as well. So, yeah. So, you know, there's a few, you know, players we will recognise from last season, but obviously we want to see how the new players sort of bed in.
I mean, you got Hazard, Plegathuelo, Roberts and Peppel all injured, which is not ideal when you're coming into the first game of the season. I mean, certainly in that regard, you know, Hazard kind of established himself as you know, Argyle's number one, but now that means that Luke Ashby-Hammond's going to have to step in for the first game of the season. I don't know what the plan was in regards to goalkeepers, you know, this year, but he's the guy today. Yeah, well, he got his opportunity. He came on trial, didn't he? He had that, you know, that bit of a calamitous mistake away in Austria, wasn't it? But the one thing you would say is, you know, goalkeepers make mistakes. That's the nature of the game, you know. So, but he's bounced back. He showed resilience, and I guess that was one of the things that, you know, Tom Cleverly was looking at, how he reacted after that mistake, and they obviously seen enough to give him a contract and give him the shirt for today, really. But you know, but we obviously know that Hazard's going to be number one choice when he gets back fit. Hopefully, you know, Hammond does well in the sense, and he gives him confidence, and he becomes a really sort of competent number two when we need him throughout the season. Well, you were here last week for the friendly. Not the best game by any means, but were there any players, you know, that stood out to you? Is there anyone, you know, you're excited about? Yeah, well, Amici, obviously he's been in the goals in pre-season. He didn't really get much, you know, of the ball really against Bristol City, but Bristol City are a really top side in this division. They just missed out in the playoffs, but they got in the playoffs. Sheffield United beat them in the semi-finals of that. So they're a competent side. They're a really good side, Bristol City, and they showed that. They sort of smothered Argyle last week, but you know, that's what you don't want easy games in pre-season. You want to test yourself. But he looks a player. You know, he's a good pedigree where he's come from. So it'll be interesting to see how he sort of plays out. Wiradu, I thought he seems to be someone who's going to sit in front of the back four and really protect. I think that's important, especially away from home. That'll be really, really important. But obviously up front, you know, I was saying he's not starting tonight, but he worked his socks off. He was a bit of a nuisance up there. But I do think we're crying out for a centre forward, and you know, so obviously you hear the club talking. You know, it's maybe not. You know, maybe some of the sort of targets has not materialised, and I guess they're working hard really behind the scenes to get some at least one, maybe two in through the door. Yeah, well, there is still some time to go in that regard. But what we've got today, and we'll have to see how they fare up against Barnsley, our opposition. Barnsley have been a bit stuck in League One. This is their 4th straight season in the division. This is their starting lineup today. So you've got Murphy Cooper, Mark Roberts, Jack Shepherd, Mail Davini, Caelan Vickers, Adam Phillips, David McGoldrick, Joshua Earl, Davis Keller-Dunn, Vimal Yoganathan and Luca Connell, and on their bench Flavel, Russell, Cleary, Kelly, Barrett, Bland and Woodcock. I mean, you know, a couple of the players that me and Aaron were speaking about earlier in the breakfast show, like David McGoldrick, for example, 37 years old.
Yeah.
We weren't necessarily expecting him to start, but why not?
Well, he's a decent player. He obviously scored lots of goals last year for Notts County. He was offered a new contract there, but he turned it down. I think him and Conor Hourihane are big mates. They played together at Sheffield United, so I think, you know, they know each other. They know what they're going to get. But he's an experienced player. McGoldrick, he's played in the Premiership with Sheffield United, so yeah, he's a decent player, but he's probably not going to have the legs. He's probably going to need players running around him. But the one thing, if he gets a chance, he'd be clinical. You don't lose that type of thing. And they obviously feel he can still. No, Notts County in League Two. Him coming to League One, he feels he can sort of deliver. But yeah, and Luke O'Connell for me is a really good. Their captain's a good player.
Okay.
Really nice left foot. Scores from distance as well. He keeps the ball moving. So he's definitely a decent player. And obviously last year Keller-Dunn was their main goal scorer. And he scored a few in pre-season as well, I believe.
Yeah, I think 18 goals and 7 assists last season. So again, he was analysed by Aaron this morning, carving up the pitch essentially.
Yeah.
You know, and Aaron was talking about the variety in his style of play. He's not one of those players you can necessarily practice for, because you don't quite know what he's going to end up producing.
Yeah.
So it has a lot of freedom to go around the pitch, which I guess is something that Tom Cleverley's going to want to stop. Yeah,
well, I think, you've always got to be mindful of the opposition. But I think you've got to, at home you're going to put your stamp, your own authority on the game, and I think, obviously Tom Cleverley will be sort of focused on that, I guess. But you're right, it's difficult when someone plays off the cuff, how to sort of prepare for that. You just got to make sure you don't give them space and get tight to them and make it difficult for them.
Yeah.
But it's a tough first game of the season. Barnsley will be no mugs. They'll be up for it. And first game of the season is always hard.
Yeah.
You're not really at your fitness levels yet. You'll see some tired legs come the last 20 minutes, and usually when you win your first game, the season doesn't go that well. I always find so.
Really?
Yeah. So sometimes you can win and just maybe get a bit too confident and whatever. I don't know, but I wouldn't, if the results doesn't go that well today, I wouldn't get too worried, and vice versa. If we have a cracking result, I wouldn't be getting carried away either.
No, of course. I mean, Barnsley finished 12th last season, so they're going to be looking to improve that. Yeah. On the flip side, our away form, not great historically, but we are a home game today to start the season off, which might be a nice positive. Yeah. But, it's all well and good saying these things. You don't know until the whistle blows.
Well, you don't know. And like our away form was mainly championship based, wasn't it? And that's, championship's relentless, really difficult. So, hopefully the new players will settle in quickly, and we can have a decent season. Yeah. And see, and obviously just confidence, and just progress from there, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as we said, it is a home park bow for Tom Cleverley. Debut, really, in fact. He spoke to Charlie Price earlier about the opener today.
On the game itself, I think when the fixtures came out, we spoke at an event, and it was like, are Barnsley going to be the most prepared for team that will play? But how easy is it to prepare for a team when you've got nothing to go off really on what they've done, because it is the first game of the season?
Yeah, there's a lot of focus on yourself, because, like you said, you don't know exactly how Barnsley are going to play. However, they probably are the most talked about opposition that we'll face this season, because we've had 4 or 5 weeks of knowing that it's going to be them. Again, pre-season, you obviously see footage of the opposition, but they've played against teams of a higher level than both of us, and teams that are clearly a lower level than both of us. So to judge how they'll play is difficult. That's why there's a real focus on us being the catalysts and us imposing ourselves on the way we want the game to go.
Now, I've been spoken to before. You love the whole thing around coaching and getting on the grass, and I remember the first day of pre-season, you were like, this is what it's all about. But Saturday is what it's all about, really, isn't it, now?
That's it, yeah. You know, I've said quite openly that I don't miss playing too much. One, because of the injuries I suffered towards the end of my career, but two, of how much I enjoy my current role. Now, what I do miss is that Saturday, 3 o'clock, first game of the season. Everyone's got a real anticipation and expectation of how the season's going to go, and that is what makes football special. The players should feel that on Saturday, that this is what football's all about now. I'll have the next best seat in the house, where it's a lot of the responsibility falls on my shoulders. I'm still going to battle with a group of men, and where the result means everything to us, and that's the next best feeling. But those guys should feel privileged to be representing this club over that white.
Well, Brian, Tom Cleverley at 35 is one of the youngest managers in the league, but in the opposition dugout, as we all know, at 34, former Argyle captain Conor Hourihane, even more inexperienced, I guess you could say, but you know, looking forward to bringing something to the Barnsley team, and he's certainly thrilled to be bringing them down to Argyle this afternoon.
Well, Conor, Plymouth Argyle first up, a club you know very well, started your career there, made your senior debut there, and I think you were captain as well. I mean, it's obviously a good one for you. What's your memories of your time at Plymouth?
Yeah, amazing time there. Loved it. Great place to live, great fans. When I first went there, the club was in a bit of trouble. They were in administration. You know, so when I first went there wasn't many players signed. I think there was only about 7 or 8 players actually signed, and quite a lot of trialists. So the 3 years I had there was an experience to start off with for sure, but obviously how it kind of went and extended and finished up with myself, you know, being club captain and getting sold was, you know, a time in my career that I, you know, remember very fondly.
And them now obviously just come down in a much better place now as a club, obviously just come down from the Championship, probably one of the favourites to go back up potentially. What do you make of them and Tom Cleverley and his team?
Yeah, look, obviously they've been, you know, relegated from the Championship, you know, with a different manager. Now it's a new manager. You know, he'll have his way of playing and how he wants his team to go about his work every single day. You know, obviously we've had a little bit of a look at them over the course of pre-season with certain games. So look, they're in a place where you know, new manager, fresh ideas. So it'll be interesting to see you know, how they set up and how they go for the season.
And it's obviously the longest possible trip on the first day of the season, but I'm sure you'll have a good backing down there. Been good away results mainly over the last couple of seasons. Obviously hoping to keep that going and reward the fans who make the 5-hour trip down to Devon this weekend.
Yeah, look, a long trip down, but we're fully prepared and ready for the planning and organisation around that. You know, there's I think close to 1,000 fans going down, which is an amazing turnout for a first game of the season from our point of view. Hopefully the journey will be worthwhile for them and we can put on a performance that they'll be very, very proud of. Look, there'll be you know, a good atmosphere. There always is at Plymouth, as I well know, with a high number of fans, with that expectation from both sides that everyone wants to get off to a good start. So fingers crossed we'll have something to shout about come the end of the game with the Barnsley fans you know, travelling down so far.
Well, 2 young coaches, both looking to put their stamp on their new clubs.
Yeah.
Just going back to Tom Cleverley, do you think that the timing of where the club's at now, the timing of where he is in his career, is quite a nice fit?
Yeah, I think so. I think he did a really good job at Watford. There was lots of, you know, he got lots of plaudits of the style he was trying to play there. I think we all know that the Watford sort of hierarchy, they just sack managers for fun, don't they? They literally, you know, I think they've had probably the highest turnover of managers in the last 4 or 5 years. So I don't think it's any sort of, you know, anything that he's done wrong personally, you know. So yeah, I think coming down to Argyle is a great sort of learning curve for him. He's going to have maybe a bit more budgetary restraints than maybe he had at Watford, but he's been given an opportunity to, you know, mould a team, build his own team, get players in, and hopefully he'll do well. But yeah, from what he says, he seems to talk sense. He seems very level-headed, and fingers crossed he'll have a similar, like Schumacher came in, didn't he? He had a similar stance, of being, you know, a novice as a manager, and he did amazing. We all know what he did. So yeah. fingers crossed it does well.
And I suppose very quickly for the opposition, we don't quite know what they're going to bring today because it's, you know, it's all new, but
yeah,
hopefully we can take them on.
Yeah, they'll be a decent side. They've got good players, and it's difficult to prepare because you don't know how they're going to set up. You know, we're not playing with an out-and-out centre forward today. They wouldn't have thought that. So it's difficult. You've just got to sort of in the game management and see how you can sort of impact it. But it's all down to the players at the end of the day. You can have tactics all you want. It's whoever wants it the most, whoever wins their individual battles, and fingers crossed, you know, Argyle, you know, win more of those and get the result.
Yeah, well, a whole raft of new players. Exciting just to see them play in green and see what happens. We're well early into the season. It's not even started quite yet. 10 minutes it starts. So we actually better get ready to pass over to the comms team. If you haven't got your match passes already, buy them on a website. It's Rob McNichol and Aaron Cusack doing the commentary for you. Argyle v Barnsley is up next.